Good morning, everyone. This is Nikachu, Merfolk Master, and we are here with day 127 of Coffee and MTG, the morning talk show with Salud just leaving right now. If anyone was lucky enough to see it, but whatever, there was right there. Did not see your comment. Hello, good morning, ugly hood rat. Don't know what that means at the moment, but anyway, good morning to everybody. This is day 127, the morning talk show, Coffee and MTG, where we discuss all things Magic the Gathering. First half of the show, we start up the discussion with Q&A. You better believe if you've got questions, both myself and the community, we're going to have the answers with the second half. Deck list review. Deck lists that have shown up in 5-0 dumps, multiple deck lists. So you bring your creativity here, and you never know when a streamer will take a peek at it and run it themselves or tune it to another higher level. So bring on the deck list. We love to see them. And welcome, everyone. Again, good morning to everybody. We have Realney's here, Kyoka 620's here, Murterer, good morning. Oh, some people are like, first, but I'm not actually live yet, so people are like preempt. Anyone who wants to say first right now, you're gonna get in. I can see firsts before I went live, which is you're a little early. You're a little early on the first. I guess Ugly Hood Rat's technically the first person to show up on here. Salud is back. Salud. Good morning, Salud. Are you tired, Salud? After waking us up all night, Salud more and more often. He sleeps all day and is up all night, and I don't know, he has dementia or something. He can't find out where we are, so he just howls at the top of his lungs at like 3 a.m. Where is everyone? Where is everyone? Then we have to yell his name, then he finds us, and then I guess he's satisfied, but for the most part, well, anyway, let's just say it's a little bit annoying. Good morning, Kyoka620. Is it weird I have two Paper Modern red decks with multiple play sets of the same card? It's not. You know what? I actually will say that it's not weird. I mean, I don't know the guy personally, but there is someone within our community that owns like multiple play sets of like Underground Sea and Volcanic Island and like all the Legacy Dual Lands because he needs it for another Legacy deck, So I mean, it's not completely unheard of. And I've heard, and I'm sure the Commander players can feel the same way. There are certain cards that they don't want to keep flipping around between their decks. They just they'll have multiple copies of the same card. Technically you only need to own one card in Commander, but you know what? If you've got like 20 Commander decks, you might as well have like extra copies so you're not bringing them back in and forth. Solar what is the price of Soul Ring? I don't think it's like super high. What does a Soul Ring go for these days? They're quite affordable. Mystery Booster Commander 2019. What is this one? I have never seen this Soul Ring before. That is a fancy Soul Ring. If you're a Commander player, you're gonna need millions of Soul Rings. You could own one and keep flipping it through your decks, or you could have multiple. So between that and I know you're talking about like a modern deck. It's not too unusual. Some people would be like, you could have spent that money on other cards, but whatever. Have you ever seen the new card that is expected to break Legacy and Vintage? You know what? People over exaggerate a lot of cards. Maybe it will, maybe it not. Let's what's it called? Give me the name. I need the name. I know what it's called. Commander Collection Green is where that Soul Ring is from. Wonder what the red one's going to be like. It'll be like the Opposition Agent. That's what it's called. So like this is the Commander Green. I imagine the Commander Red one should be something like the One Ring from Lord of the Rings. It's like in the Fires of Mount Doom. Okay, Opposition Agent. So this is the card that's supposed to break the format. Well, that is just great. I love it when they give me the default language is not English. What? Is there like no official... Oh, here it is. Okay, opposition agent. Black to generic flash. You control your opponents while they're searching their libraries. So what does that mean? You get to choose what they choose while an opponent is searching their library, which is basically you. They exile each card they find. You may play those cards for as long as they remain exiled, and you may spend mana as though it were any mana of any color to cast them. So if I understand this correctly, when they search their library, boom, you play this thing. All of a sudden, now you're searching their library, and you get to pick out whatever you want. Does this include lands? Look at the face. Looks like Squad Chief. Are you sure? There's some similarities there. There's some similarities. Just a quick question that I can answer. Do you own multiple play sets of any Merfolk cards? Yes, I own apparently 2 play sets of Silver Adapt because I put them on my wall for my discussion videos, and then I forgot about them, and then I was looking for play sets of Silver Adapt in paper, and I was like in non-foil. I'm like, where is it? Maybe I didn't buy it, so I bought another play set, and then I realized, oh, they were on my wall the entire time. So I do have Silver Adapt in multiples. I also own some extra Merfolk just for my commander deck. So ramp, fetch lands and tutors, and you steal their lands. Yeah, your fetches know my fetches, and at flash speed. So you know it's a huge surprise. It's a huge gotcha at that point. The agent will be better in Legacy than Vintage due to meta differences. Is this really going to be that good? It's 3 mana. 3 mana is a high casting cost in Legacy. Like, it's really high. I might hose some combo decks that require searching their libraries because they still need some time to enable their combo. Turns off fetch lands only on turn 3. So if you know this is in the format, you know you're going to want to get your fetch lands out turns 1 and 2. For 3, I mean, I'm not going to doubt that this is a very powerful effect, but you know, talking about breaking Legacy is a bit, that's a bit extreme. You know, you still got to fight through Force of Will and Daze, and I mean, I guess if this is going to be played in a humans deck running Cavern of Souls, then you're vulnerable to Wasteland. It does include lands. You're going to steal their lands. Yeah, it includes fetch lands like Windswept Heath or Evolving Wilds. I doubt Evolving Wilds is going to be a thing in Legacy. There's a question of, will you get to see their hand too? You control your opponents while they're searching their libraries. I don't know. I'm going to say yes. You control your opponents while they're searching their libraries. Because if you control an opponent, you just control everything. Does that mean... Okay, hold on. So here's an additional question. Now I'm going to ask the crowd. Can I activate my opponent's stuff while, you know, searching is on the stack? Or is it only while... No, searching is not on the stack. It has resolved. So when something... So I only control them after something is resolved off the stack. They're searching their library. Now I'm searching their library, but I can't activate anything while I'm searching. Okay, so I can't fiddle around with anything. But yeah, good question. Can I see the hand? Hey, Nikachu, is your amulet opponent last challenge? Keep up the great content. Thank you very much, Jose Moniz. But which one were you? I played against 2 of them. Were you the one that beat me, or were you the one that lost to me? I played against 2 amulet players that challenge. Still a lot of amulet in the format. Good morning, Cactusovishmok. To turn off fetch lands. Oh, it turns off more than that. It's playable in Legacy and busted in Vintage. It might be even more powerful in Vintage when you have the like in Vintage you have the mana to do whatever the hell you want there. Black Lotus turn 1. Booyah. I will have it in my Death and Taxes. Really? Well, I guess like black-white is possible. But then you're like weaker to Wasteland. 3 mana is 6 mana of Modern and 8 mana of Standard. Exactly. That's good. That's a good scale. Can't you shock it after that? Yes, you can kill the thing before your search effect resolves. So, I mean, yeah, it's also vulnerable to removal. Also a hard lock with a black creature from Lorwyn. I don't think searching is an instant effect. It just happens. Yeah, no time or no space or time to perform actions. So we can't use the word instant because instant actually means something in this game. Since the card never goes to their hand, you never see it. I think only if Panglacial Worm is in the library. What are you talking about? Panglacial? While you're searching your library, you may play Panglacial Worm from your library. So what, you could use that somehow? Or like take that creature if they somehow have it in their library? The most played creature in Legacy is Plague Engineer, which is the same cost. However, there's a very big difference between something like Opposition Agent and Plague Engineer. Plague Engineer affects what's on the battlefield. Opposition Agent affects what's not on the battlefield. This is like a big difference between spot removal and surgical extraction. It's like some people use surgical extraction as like a removal spell. Like I don't want to deal with this Thalia, Guardian of Thraben. I'm going to surgical extract it, but it's not nearly as impactful as just using Fatal Push on what's on the battlefield already. So in comparison, Opposition Agent, it's 3 mana, but it does not affect the battlefield. So if you're like behind on the battlefield, then you're just behind. Whereas something like Plague Engineer could be a removal spell. Could be a removal spell for all the 1 toughness creatures already on the battlefield, and then just make all future creatures that enter the battlefield really weak. So that's how I evaluate these cards. The more expensive it is, the more important it is going to be when it affects the battlefield. This doesn't this is a very expensive effect for not affecting the battlefield. But we'll see. Like everyone, I mean, every spoiler season, people get excited. Everyone's so excited. It's like this card's gonna break the format. You remember what I said about what's it called? What was that card that completely flopped? The blue enchantment that bounced lands back to people's hands. Confounding Conundrum. This card legitimately looked like it could be busted. And I also said, hey, maybe it can't be busted. I didn't say it was definitely going to be busted. I definitely saw a world where this card was going to really screw people over, but I could also see a world where it wasn't really doing anything at all. But at 2 mana, that replaced itself and could potentially really choke your opponent on mana. This looked insane. And a lot of people agreed. And it did nothing. It sees no play at all. It's not even a sideboard card. Not even a sideboard card. So we're going to have to see where Opposition Agent... There's a lot of unique effects that are very hard to evaluate. Very, very hard to evaluate because we've never played with the card before. But, look, this card doesn't even have an ETB effect. So just like other people said, if you flash this in response, you can still kill it and nothing happens. So, and it may not end up being as good as it looks. I will say the flash is strong. So you, as the player playing this card, you can always just keep passing the turn with interaction. And then when the opportunity arises, you flash an Opposition Agent, and it's not a bad body. 3/2 creature for 3 mana, not bad. It's a pretty good clock. Not bad at all. Opposition Agent. Tinker hates it. Is this clickbaity enough? I don't get it, Tinker. Oh yeah, I get it. Tinker requires you to search your library. We're talking specifically vintage here. This card's not legal anywhere else. This is an old-fashioned Magic card. Imagine this card getting printed today. The time you play Tinker, sacrifice an artifact, search your library for an artifact card, and put that artifact into play. Shuffle your library afterwards. Like, what the hell? I can't remember. What was the deal back then? Did they just not have good artifacts to put into play? I mean, this card still saw play and it was busted, but I don't think they had Blightsteel Colossus at the time. Maybe they just didn't realize, you know, this card was just going to get worse and worse with, like, well, whatever. The cost was so damn small on this card. It's just ridiculous. Tinker, Oko loves it. Yeah. Marlin of the Morn Song is a hard lock-in commander. Is that with opposition agent? Okay, black, one generic. Players can't draw cards. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player loses 3 life, searches their library for a card, puts it into his or her hand, then shuffles his or her library. But that still is... that's not a lock, though, because your opponent... I mean, assuming your opponents are empty-handed, that's a lock. If they so much as kill this thing with what removal they have, and of course you're going to be playing with 3 other people at the table, then it's not a hard... It's only a hard lock. It's not a hard lock, so it's only a hard lock if your opponents aren't allowed to do anything, which of course your opponents are absolutely allowed to do something. Doesn't Oko just totally screw opposition agent? Of course, just elk the stupid thing, but not at you. But they'll get you at They'll get you at one. The opponent will get to search at least once. Or what if that was the 3rd land that you needed to cast Oko? You know. What if the 3rd land that you need to cast Oko gets trumped by opposition agent? Okay, in response to your fetch land. Opposition agent, now you don't get that 3rd land to cast that Oko. Yeah, it's a fairy. There's like tons of answers. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Everyone's all excited over this. This is very... It's scary looking, but maybe it's not going to do anything at all. I don't know. Is Rick still making 5/0s? In Legacy? I know there was that initial list. I think that saw some like vintage play. Is this still making 5/0s? Let's go look at this app. MTG Top, or maybe MTG Goldfish. Decks, metagame. Let's just look up specifically cards. Find decks using Rick. Steadfast Leader. Anything. Select format. I don't want to select a format. Okay, I guess I have to select format. Legacy. Holy crap! There's actually a lot. Rick is doing great. Rick is a 4-mana creature that basically wins you every combat. Rick is still super strong in humans. Oh yeah, I see it. In Woobug. In the Woobug, both Twin MTG, Odorous. Oh, Eco Baron's also taken up the deck. So the leaders here seem to be Udorus, Urungus, and Eco Baron. What the hell is going on here? Okay, let's look at this thing. It's just humans? So you have Champion of the Parish, Mother of Runes, Noble Hierarch, Kitesail Freebooter, Meddling Mage, Thal's Lieutenant, Thalia Garden of Thraben, Imperial Recruiter to help find your Ricks. Imperial Recruiter. No, hold on. No, you can't find Rick. It only looks for converted mana cost 2 or less. Reflector Mage. The game, it looks so much more... The humans list in Legacy looks way less aggressive. Like, way less aggressive. It's just filled with, like, Mother of Runes and Noble Hierarch and Kitesail Freebooter. I mean, I guess more lock... It's more of a prison deck than an aggro deck in Legacy by a huge margin. And you use Imperial Recruiter to find more of your prison pieces. Like, it's not trying to tempo you out, or like the most aggressive cards are just Champion of the Parish and Thal's Lieutenant, and that's it. Yeah, Rick is the hero here. Rick Steadfast. Choose 2 abilities among First Strike, Vigilance, and Lifelink. Humans you control have each of those abilities. As long as you control 4 or more humans, humans you control get +2/+2. Ancient Ziggurat. Still this botched mana base, but they have a Caracas in here. Well, they get to use Wasteland. That's not too bad if that's actually effective. And another Wasteland in the sideboard. Containment Priest. Well, that's impressive. That is actually very impressive. What's the cost of this deck? It's not that bad, actually. Look at that. How many reserve list cards are in this deck? You know, paper magic is not doomed. I don't think there's any are there any reserve list cards in this deck? Nothing. There are no reserve list cards in this deck. Mindbreak Trap, are you serious? Searches based on... Oh, sorry. It searches based on power, not CMC, so I screwed up. So it can find... No, but it still can't find Rick. Confirm that with power 2 or less, reveal that card, so it still doesn't find Rick. So you just have a... This is like Master of Waves of the deck. It's just a random bomb at 4 mana if you can get to it. Rick is on the list. Oh, you know what? Technically, yes, Rick is reserved list, isn't he? Or pseudo reserved list. There are no there's no official reserve list cards on the in this set, or sorry, in this deck list. But Rick technically, with no price, because we don't know what the value of this card is yet. Oh, Rick doesn't look that menacing, but is there any this MTG Goldfish gives nothing? There's got to be a Magic Online price for this card. What's the cost of this thing online? Okay, so it has 1 reserve list card. And pretty good. So that means like there should be a lot. Shouldn't there be like way more humans in the metagame? Like in Legacy? I mean, this outside of Rick, I mean, if you're like a modern player, I mean, you basically have a Legacy deck outside of like Wasteland that you need to buy. Maybe Caracas. But for the most part, it's like the same damn thing. There's like, yeah, it costs money. It should cost money. There may well be not... Well, I mean, at least online there should be something for sale. Or are they completely sold out? Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Maybe there's no market. Imperial Recruiter is expensive? No, it is not. It's like $1. Oh, no. Is it $37? I thought that card collapsed in price. Okay, you have to spend a little bit of money upgrading your humans deck in Legacy, but for the most part, I mean, this looks pretty serious. This looks pretty serious. Anyway, interesting. Rick does still see play, and like, how did we get there? How is this a conversation? Oh yeah, I was talking about people were scared of Rick, and well, it looks like it's true. You should be scared of Rick. It actually gave a boost, enough of a boost to this archetype that it's consistently doing well in... What are the finishes? Not some crap finishes, not just regular 5-0s. We have a challenge finish, a league finish challenge. What place? Mono green Cloud Post. Wasn't there like someone in this group that wanted to know how to win with Cloud Post? I guess this is it. Oh, but this is like an Eldrazi deck. What the hell? This is not really... It doesn't feel very much like Cloud Post to me. Okay. Oh yeah, that's BS. This is an Eldrazi deck that's playing Cloud Post in it. It's not the same thing. These names are off badly. Now how about this? Now this is a Cloud Post deck. Your Crop Rotation, Green Sun Zenith, Once Upon a Time. Can't remember, but there was somebody here that wanted to know what a winning Cloud Post list looked like. And I mean, I couldn't give very good advice, but I mean, this is definitely a step in the right direction. Made second place in a challenge. But where did the humans... Oh no, it's called Wooburg. So 22nd place, not too bad. Not too bad. Did I make another theme deck? Do you want me to post it in chat? Post it for Decklist review. Thank you very much, Balada. It's true. I sold a foil recruiter the day M25 released, and it was around $200 Canadian. Yeah, the price just collapsed right after that. Recruiter is way less expensive than it used to be. It was $200 before the third reprint. Humans was a deck before Rick. This wasn't a surprise to anyone who knew that. Well, was it really a deck? Like, yeah, it was a deck. I don't know how much it was winning though. Like I saw people play humans, but I didn't know if I could believe in it. I don't know what the Magic the Gathering online price of the deck is. Hold on, maybe we can get something. Okay, it claims the Magic Online price is 467 ticks. Maybe this is what I should play for the Mana Traders series this month, because the Mana Trader series is Legacy this month. Let's bust out those Ricks. Are there even any available? I mean, let's just even look at Card Hoarder. Do you have any available Card Hoarder? I would just borrow them from. I'm just curious if there are any like on the market. Let's look up Rick. 0 available. 2.65 ticks. So they're just completely off the market. Get your Ricks if you can. Get your play sets, because there's no going back. Whatever supply, online they can have they will have infinite supply, but in paper you'd be really screwed. It's going to be very interesting to see what this card's price is going to be, because it's effectively a reserve list card with a way shorter print run than probably any other set that had a reserve list card in it. Yeah, where's the Merfolk from The Walking Dead? Eventually we're going to get our Merfolk. Hopefully. We're dreaming. I don't know. I don't know anymore with Wizards of the Coast. They're very aggressive in a lot of creature types, but then when it comes to Merfolk, they're like, Merfolk are draft crap. We've got to power this card down. Can't make Merfolk a little too strong. We just got to make it strong enough that people feel satisfied with the deck. That's the power level they like to hold Merfolk at. It's not available for, well, maybe for paper that's the case, but online they'll print like infinite copies if they really want to. Rick is around $2 to $20 on eBay. Sounds cheap. Sounds very cheap. I mean, I can't really see. Well, I don't know. It's hard to tell where Legacy is going in paper right now. Genuinely hard to tell. I love how it took Wizards of the Coast exactly one time to screw up these secret layers to the point where Rick is going to need a reprint ASAP. And the thing is, well, I mean, maybe they can go back on their promise here that this is going to be a limited time offer, because they said that, well, we can print in effectively the same card with a new name, but then you should just have both cards strategically, because it's a legendary creature. You would want Rick, and then the copy that says that is Rick but is like of a different name. Yeah. So that effectively Rick would still be valuable. Paper Rick will explode once paper Magic is a thing again. More importantly, like when there's a Legacy tournament that comes up. Rick is on GoatBots for $2.62. Got to get your Ricks. I should get those Ricks. They should Godzilla Rick. They absolutely should. So do a Godzilla card deal for Rick. You can blame TCC for no good Merfolk. He yells at Wizards too much that they never let him have his strong tribe. I'm about to join him. Like I'm pretty relaxed with Wizards of the Coast, as I think a lot of you have seen. But I'm starting to like lose my patience with this Merfolk thing, because there's a lot of opportunities to give Merfolk like something good, something powerful. And I don't know, it's like the last good Merfolk that they made that was outrageous was True Name Nemesis. And it's like, whoa, we went too far here. We can't like give Merfolk a good card for the next decade. I wish I was into Merfolk at the time that this thing was printed. I didn't dive into Merfolk at this time. It would have been a very exciting time as a Merfolk player to see this card. And it just ruined Legacy for like a good 2 to 3 months before people adapted to it. And then it wasn't a big deal anymore. And I still don't think it would be a big deal in Modern. Give this to me in Modern. I will take it. I don't care if it's weak to Plague Engineer. I will take it. I will take this card. I will take this card in Modern in a heartbeat. Yeah, True Name now sucks. It's still something, but like, yeah, it's not what it used to be. Still a solid card. What about Control? We've got nothing in the past week. Yeah, I know. The Control players can be quiet for the next decade. And honestly, I think like tribal decks are doing pretty well right now. I mean, Goblins got a pretty good big boost before like dipped back down. But I think there's a good healthy amount of humans and spirits in the format, so we can't say like, you know, tribal decks are completely dead. Question: how long until Simian Spirit Guide gets banned? Every non-interactive combo deck relies on it ad nauseum. Oops, Neobrand, and it doesn't promote good gameplay. So how long of these? Becomes too good? You would need. So first off, ad nauseum is a really fair combo deck. Like that's a combo deck that does not go off until turn 4. So we really can't. I would never say ban Simian Spirit Guide because of ad nauseum. I would not put that in the discussion. I would put that in a similar vein with Oops All Spells. It's not the fastest combo deck either. Neobrand is in that category, but Neobrand just isn't winning. It's just not good enough. There's just too many answers. So what we need multiple Neobrand decks that depend on Simian Spirit Guide for winning, and they're too good. They're winning too much despite interaction in the format. But Neobrand can't stand the heat of the answers in Modern between Counterspells and Grafdigger's Cage. They just can't do it. They can't do it. They can't beat the interaction. Prove me wrong, Neobrand players. Prove me wrong. I still think Neobrand is a deck that should be axed in some way, like Allosaurus Rider should get banned, but Wizards of the Coast doesn't see it that way. The deck needs to have a large enough presence in the metagame for it to act sustainably in the long run for it to be warrant any bannings. But the problem is if you do that, then that means people have bought the deck, they invested in the deck, and now that's the moment they lose money. Random question. Finished watching Rusty Valley on Netflix. How is British Columbia perceived by the rest of Canada? I don't know about Rusty Valley. British Columbia? I don't know. I don't know how people view British Columbia. Expensive. How about that? That's how we view it. We view it as expensive, particularly Vancouver. When people think Vancouver or Toronto, they think expensive. That's how Winterpeggers think of it as. I heard somewhere Rick reprint with different name will be 4 max like Godzilla, not 8. What do you mean 4 max Godzilla, not 8? I don't get that one. Allosaurus Shepherd has really helped Elves come back in Legacy, I think. I think also Elves is well positioned. So, I mean, we can get this Allosaurus Shepherd here. Because this is totally true. Allosaurus Shepherd is a huge deal in Legacy. But I also think that Elves is well positioned because Delver is one of the most popular decks in Legacy right now, and it's just one of the best decks. And the answer to a Delver deck is basically Elves. Elves crushes Delver. They don't have nearly enough answers to beat an Elf deck. And not to mention, Allosaurus Shepherd just takes it to a whole new degree. Now your Force of Wills are garbage. Your Dazes are trash. And they just combo off for way more power than a Delver deck can deal with. But I don't think Elves would be in the position that it would be in right now if Delver wasn't so popular. There's also the thing of I'm not sure what Elves matchup is like against Control, but maybe it's also fine because Elves can't be countered. Not Elves. Green spells you control can't be countered. That includes things like Green Sun Zenith and what's it called? Are they still playing Natural Order? Can't remember. Probably. Why wouldn't they? So this is uncounterable. That's stupid. It's not just the creatures, it's just green spells, period. Just green spells, period. Nikachu, how do you name a deck? Colors used, deck archetype, best card in the deck? It depends. Sometimes, if it's a combo, it's usually named after the combo, or a combination of the combo cards, like Neoform and Grizzlebrand, hence Neobrand. Usually, if it's just a bunch of good stuff cards, it'll be just named after the wedge, hence why it's called Jund or Abzan or Mardu. Sometimes Mardu Stoneblade. So some particular cards can stand out to define a deck, because you could have like a Mardu mid-range deck, but you also could have a Stoneblade deck. So it's Mardu Stoneblade, Jeskai Stoneblade, stuff like that. But honestly, I don't know. I don't think there's a definitive science for how a deck is named. It just ends up whatever is culturally accepted by the community. It is just named like that. Like if they what's like a name that got changed because it just didn't catch on. There are some decks when they break out, it has a name, but then it just gets changed to something else. Maybe I could say the same about maybe I could say that about Neoform. I think it was originally called Neoform, and then it ended up just being called Neobrand. Leave my mana monkey alone. Long live Thalia Stompy. Oh, you mean the Simian Spirit Guide? You see, there are fair decks using Simian Spirit Guide. BC is the best. I like BC. I wish I could afford it. Hey Nikachu, glad to catch another stream live. Love your content. Questions: What are the chances you'd say Uro gets banned in Modern? If you think it will, when do you think it'll happen? Thank you very much, Joe Beppo 2000. I think the chances of Uro getting banned are very high. I would say higher than 90%, but I can't tell you when. I would say within 2 years. There's a pretty good chance that Uro gets banned. I would say within 2 years. I think Uro right now is very underrated online, because the decks that play Uro are so blazingly expensive. People can't borrow it. People can't afford it. So it's an underrated deck at the moment. But when comes the time when either these decks get cheaper, or there's a big event and there's just like a million Uro decks in the top 8 because people just got the paper cards, that we'll start seeing Uro probably get banned. So I think there's a pretty good chance Uro gets banned. I just can't tell you when. I think Uro does. I feel reasonably confident that is on the similar power level as Oko, but yeah, that's about it. That's all I can say. Maybe less decks can use no, I can't say less decks can use Uro than Oko. Maybe there is technically less decks, but there's still a lot of decks that use Uro. The reprint won't allow you to play. Oh, I see. The reprint won't allow you to play 8 copies of the Rick effect. Opposition Agent is going to be interesting in Legacy. It's also going to shut down Elves from turn 3 on, if they get to cast it by that time. Elves can like explode by turn 3 on the play. Elves is also fantastic versus Death and Taxes, which has seen a resurgence. Exactly. So Elves just has like some pretty good positioning right now. I also think Opposition Agent is good, but not as overpowered as people seem to think. At the rate that Wizards of the Coast throws out reprints, we will see a new version of Rick in like 2 years at best. So we're going to see more Rick soon, probably. Can you lie about deck giving it false name to confuse your opponents? I mean, you can put that on the deck sheet, but it's not like your opponent can see the deck, or you can tell your opponent you're on Jund. I mean, yeah, you're allowed to lie. I think you're allowed to lie about these things. You can say you're on Jund, and then surprise, I'm on Burn. I don't know, something like that. I don't think there's any harm in that. Is there any harm? Now, I'm pretty sure you can lie outside of the game. I'm just curious if I'm allowed to lie about this during the game. Don't worry, I'm on Jund after playing like turn 1 Bloodstain Mire, when really you're a burn deck. That's interesting, because you're not explicitly allowed to lie to your opponent, especially about the board state. Interesting question. I think outside of the game, you most definitely could, in my opinion. When would your opponent see the deck's name if you tell them? Would you ever want to review an old school deck? I mean, I can review an old school deck, but like, what are you talking about? Like 1999 standard or something? Morning, JK Torborg. You're talking about 93, 94. I wouldn't trust any strategy advice the opponent gives you either way. Yeah, like at the beginning of a tournament, they always say, don't believe your opponent. Do what's within your best interest. I guess you could submit the list, but I wouldn't be able to give good feedback. Anyway, it is time, however, for Decklist review, so let's get into it. Actually, before we get into Decklist review, I do have sponsors. We have to remind the world of all my beautiful sponsors, like the ManaBase.com, your home base for everything Magic the Gathering. Let's go see what's happening at the ManaBase. Oh, look at this. Channel Nikachu, trusty mono blue merfolk, adding Smuggler's Copter. Truth be told, you know, I'm playing a lot of Simic right now as well, but like my best results are actually with mono blue. You got the Commander Cookout podcast, Brashy Boys from Ceasonation, the Rants of Alkut, Rupture the Spire Part 3. So a lot of Commander content, some standard, and of course your wonderful modern Nikachu content. ManaBase is your home base for everything Magic the Gathering. And also the ManaBase is sponsored by Fusion Gaming Online, my favorite local game store, and they have a deal of the week. Every week it's a new deal. Save 15% off all Zendikar Rising singles and sealed product. I just realized the replay gets these like a week late, so I apologize if no one can take advantage of the deal. But anyone watching live, you know what the deal is. You know what the deal is that you can take advantage of. So yeah, deal of the week, 15% off all Zendikar Rising singles, and remember, it's all in Canadian prices. Don't think that they are inflating the prices and then giving you the discount. You know, there are some stores that do it out there. I'm not talking about Magic Store, I'm just talking in general. Seasonally, before the big discounts, they just raise the prices. We're looking at you, electronic stores. And also, we're going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place for renting Magic cards online. Are you scared that Uro is going to get banned? Then don't buy it, borrow it. Borrow the thing, borrow the deck, and you don't have to worry about cards getting banned. You can play any deck that's worth getting banned if you have a rental subscription with Mana Traders. And you can support the channel by using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or you can save yourself 15% off your first 3 months by using my coupon code Nikachu. And away we go with Decklist review. So remember, if you have submitted... Oh, by the way, for anyone who wants to submit a Decklist, not everyone is familiar with this, and I'll leave this up the entire time. You are eligible to be picked at random. If you go ! Deck review space, give the URL to your deck list, and please leave any comments. Let me know what's the format. Are you on a budget? What do you need help against, and etc. Okay, so we have Murchur's deck list has been chosen. Okay, so what's the deal here? Excited to see... I'm going to show a little bit of the deck list here. Excited to see the replay of your zombie stream. Hope you like the archetype. Just seeing what you think of the deck. I've submitted a few times before, and it's been working out well in playtesting and against friends. Thanks for the feedback all the time. Just out of curiosity, Murchur, are you the one who submitted the list to Aspiring Spike? I'm just curious if you are the actual deck designer, because there's a lot of people who submit zombie lists on this channel. People love submitting the zombie list. Oh, they love the zombies. So I just want to know who I'm supposed to give credit to for the deck. Oh, that wasn't you? Okay. Thank you for letting me know. Because I don't remember who it was. Someone's going to let me know who it was. If anyone knows who it was, let me know, because I'd love to give credit to them for the deck list. Because I am going to be playing the 5-0 Aspiring Spike list today. Like, I totally recognize the list, but I just don't remember who created it. 4 Carrion Feeder, 4 Crypt Breaker, Diagraph Captain, Geralf's Messenger, 4 Gravecrawler Prized Amalgam, Relentless Dead, Stitcher's Supplier, 30 creatures, 3 Fatal Push. So this is not an Ether Vial version. It's fine. Land 22, Island, Swamp, Cavernous Souls, Dark Slick Shores, Blue Delta, Watery Grave, Agadeem's Awakening. Okay, so you have, I was wondering, do you have 21 black sources to cast this? What's it called? Geralt's Messenger. And you do. You have the Agadeem's Awakening. So you have 21 black. 21. So if anyone doesn't know, you need 21 sources of a particular color in your mana base if you want to curve out into all of this, like black, 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 or red, 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 or blue, blue, blue casting cost. So we got it here. Collective Brutality, Unearth. Is Unearth necessary? I mean, I guess it's fine. Unearthing Diregraft Captain would be gas. Sideboard, nice sideboard. Plague Engineer, 4 Leyline of the Void, 1 Scarab God, 4 Smallpox, 4 Thoughtseize. Zombies can constantly drain your opponent and come back from the graveyard all the time, and while being able to threaten the opponent with creatures, many of the zombies are able to hit your opponent on different angles, all while having overall synergy with each other. I've been having a lot of fun, and I hope you do too. Thanks for taking the time. And I don't really have any feedback here. It's a very clean list. It's a very clean list. Very clean creatures. I mean, I might, if I was playing, I'm going to play zombies today, so I'm going to find out what is good, what is bad, or maybe not. Like, the metagame in the leagues these days is so wide open. It's very difficult for merfolk, only because the metagame's really wide open. It's not narrow whatsoever. But, I mean, the list looks great. Curious to know how Crypt Breaker is going to play. Losing life is not appealing to me, and it seems a bit clunky, but putting a zombie on the battlefield every single turn, and you can like discard prized amalgams and get value out of those later. Actually, I can see the upside. Relentless Dead and Stitcher Supplier. 3 Fatal Push. And we do have ways of activating Revolt with Pluto Delta. I think the list is great. If I didn't already load up the zombie list that I have, I could have chosen this one. So anyway, thank you very much for the list, Mature. I can make a Pioneer zombie list if you want. It's a deck I ran for a bit and went to mono black midrange. All right, go for it. I think a lot of people would actually appreciate a zombie list. And you're welcome, Mature. Okay, deck review pick. Oops, I didn't use exclamation point. Balada's deck list has been chosen. Balada loves submitting lists on Coffee and MTG. Okay, Solemn Broad. Don't know exactly what this means. 9 lives. Oh, this thing. Okay, so we've got this like prison deck. So starting with 9 lives, the 9 lives in Solemnity is like a pillow fort combo. White, when generic, hexproof. If a source would deal damage to prevent that damage and put an incarnation counter on 9 lives, when there are 9 or more incarnation counters on 9 lives, exile it. And when 9 lives leaves the battlefield, you lose the game. So you don't want 9 lives to lose the battle game. You don't want to lose your 9 lives from the battlefield. Otherwise, you lose. But then there's Solemnity. So for a white and 2 generic, players can't get counters, and counters can't be put on artifacts, creatures, enchantments, or lands. So so long as Solemnity is on the battlefield, 9 lives cannot get counters, and if 9 lives can't get counters, then you don't lose. Is this like a Lion King image? It's like the whole family comes out. This is like multiple generations deep of the Lion King. This is Lion King, like episode 10, to the point we are like so far into the future where like the lion has been domesticated into a cat. This is how I'm looking at this image. And now this cat is like requesting advice from its ancestors. All right, moving on. Cauldron Familiar. When Cauldron Familiar enters the battlefield, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So this is Mardu. You have Kroxa, Luminous. Okay, so Luminous, Broadmoth. Whenever... What is the format here, by the way? I'm assuming this is modern. Oh, it's Pioneer. Okay. Luminous Broadmoth. Flying. Whenever a creature you control without flying dies, returns to the battlefield under its owner's control with a flying counter on it. But it can't get the counter. Murderous Rider, Woe Strider. Oh, it's hard for my brain to wrap around this card because it has so much value attached to it for a 3/2 creature. It's like ridiculous. So whenever Woe Strider enters the battlefield, create a 0/1 white goat creature token. If you sacrifice another creature, you can scry one, escape. This is a witch's? So this is a witch's oven deck in addition. So you use Cauldron Familiar to gain life, lose life, sacrifice a food, return Cauldron Familiar from your graveyard to the battlefield. But Witch's Oven will create food by sacrificing the cat. Or how does this work? I can't remember how this works. No, you can okay, yeah, you can sacrifice the food, make a cat, sacrifice the cat, make a food, sacrifice the food, return this from the graveyard to the battlefield, and you can drain your opponent. And what is the point? You are a sacrifice outlet for whenever Zulaport Cutthroat or another creature of control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So in combination with this, you can do a lot of damage. This deck sometimes uses Bolas's Citadel combo. Okay, is there any like extra stuff that I am missing in this list? Can you name cats in clouds? What do you mean? So this works in Pioneer and Historic? I fought this deck Archetype in Historic is brutal when it goes off. It's always it always feels it's a shame that there are more tribes seen in Modern. Seems like there are so many that have the potential to be competitive. Oh, sorry. It always feels a shame that there aren't more tribes seen in Modern. You know, all things considered, there's probably more tribal decks in Modern today than there ever has been in the history of Modern. Like when in the Splinter Twin days, there was like no tribal decks, like nothing, just merfolk. And now we've got like merfolk spirits, humans, goblins, elves. What else? We've got stuff. Let's just say we've got stuff, even though some of them are on the fringe now because of Plague Engineer. If you get Solemnity and Broad, the combo can go off with Croxa or Ore Strider. So hold on, what is the... You have Solemnity. Players can't get counters. Counters can't be put on artifacts, creatures, or land. What is the combo with Broad? Whenever a creature you control without flying dies. Oh, so you can keep sacrificing a creature. Whenever a creature you control without flying dies, returns to the battlefield under its owner's control with a flying counter on it. So basically, the creatures are never... Let me get rid of this thing. Or hold on, can we see? Yeah, we can see the card properly here. So the point is that if you have a sack outlet, you can continuously keep sacrificing a creature over and over and over again. And it'll keep returning to the battlefield, and it'll never come onto the battlefield with a flying counter on it. And if it's never a flying counter, then every single time you sacrifice it, your opponent will eventually die. So with Luminous Broadmoth, and all you need is like Cauldron Familiar or Croxa. Is that as I'm understanding this? Or maybe you just need Zulaport Cutthroat. Whenever Zulaport Cutthroat or another creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So you just need Zulaport Cutthroat plus Solemnity plus Luminous Broadmoth. And you just... Oh, Croxa can sack itself, so it just Croxa and Broadmoth. That's pretty clever, yeah. So you just keeps going to the graveyard, and it keeps coming back. Because it just died. Interesting. Interesting. And you still have this combo in itself. This is actually really strong. This list looks great. Bloodchief's Thirst, Amiria's Call, 3 Fatal Push, the Witch's Oven, of course. This deck is trying to use Solemnity to combo with 9 Limes or Broadmoth to win the game. Otherwise, it's a solid life gain and interaction to win the game that way. Most important cyber cards is Necromentia. You need to stop combo decks. Magic is about having interaction and back and forth. Combo decks shouldn't have free range and should be kept in check. So Necromentia. Black, black, 1 generic. Choose a card name other than a basic land card name. Search target opponent's graveyard, hand, or library for any number of cards with that name and exile them. Okay. And deal with those combo decks. Solid deck, really strong. This is really strong deck. You're quite the brew. Well, I don't know how much you brewed this deck. It seems to be an adaptation of some other decks, but like really strong deck. I know you are a brewer though, Bellotta. You love to brew. The side fight my own deck. If somehow your opponent has Phyrexian Unlife, etc., it'll be a draw. But outside of that corner case, yeah, 99% of the time it'll win. Unless they have that Artifact Angel on the battlefield, then it's a draw if Kroxa goes off. I wonder, are you allowed to play Kroxa in that situation? Maybe online you do. Like, what if you can't... But in paper, are you allowed to go for a draw there? On Arena, you can. I just don't know if the rules allow you to go for a draw in paper. Or maybe the rule is you can't take an action that would repeat over and over again. But you only with the Kroxa thing, you're only taking one action, and then it ends up being a draw. Interesting, cool list. Thanks for sitting. Thank you very much for submitting it, Bellotta. Looks really strong, and nice that it can be adapted for both Pioneer and Historic. All right, J.K. Torborg's list has been chosen. Hey, Nikachu, I updated that Adventure Spellshift list to be 4 colors and have been playtesting heavily, and there are some huge advantages I'm finding to the build. Take a look if interested. Well, what are the advantages, J.K. Torborg? Why are you hiding this information? Why can't you let us all know about it? Online, you just time out. You probably could just F6 because the whole thing, the interaction should just do itself, right? Oh no, yeah, you could auto stack the triggers. I'm pretty sure you can auto stack the triggers and just let it loop for forever. I have no idea what would happen in Magic the Gathering Online. You can't use a loop to draw by wasting time, but maybe you can just prove, hey, look, this interaction goes on for forever, and we go nowhere, and we draw the game. So I'm very curious to know what would happen on Magic the Gathering Online with that last list. All right. Advantages are more red, Stomp, and Merchant of the Veil. Yes, Stomp. Utilize Bonecrusher Giant. Stomp is great for removing creatures and it has synergy with Hornet Nest in the sideboard, used versus Death and Taxes and Prowess. And Merchant of the Veil lets me go. Wow, I never thought Hornet's Nest must be a beating against Prowess. And Merchant of the Veil lets me go off for 5 at instant speed versus those pesky control matchups. Okay. I'm just going to assume this mana base is solid and stable. Can't remember. Why are you using the Mystic Sanctuary? Is it just to bring back a spell shift if it just randomly goes in your graveyard? I guess that has to be the answer. So the Arbor Elf, Bonecrusher Giant, Brazen Borrower, Lovestruck Beast. So this is a list that we've seen a few times. Merchant of the Veil. I'm curious to know if this is actually worth it, though. I mean, I guess it's fine. Discard a card, draw a card. Not nearly as good as Bonecrusher Giant, though. So, okay, hold on. How do we get through this? How do I explain this deck? So the point of this deck is that all these creatures, so all these spells act as creatures. So that when you hit Spell Shift, instant, blue 3 generic, counter target instant or sorcery spell, its controller reveals cards from the top of their library until he or she reveals an instant or sorcery card. That player may play that card without paying its mana cost, then they shuffle their library. So you counter your own spell. Then you cast Primal Surge, because that's what you spell shifted into. Exile the top card of your library. If it's a permanent card, you may put it onto the battlefield. If you do, repeat this process. Whole deck is permanents, though. After you get the spell shift out, I mean, Wishclaw, and by the way, you can use Wishclaw Talisman to find your spell shift to combo off. And the whole deck is permanent. So you put the whole you put all the permanents on the battlefield, and it looks like you Thassa's Oracle for victory now. I can't remember if you had this in the deck before. But the thing is, you don't need to combo off. You can just beat them down with this stuff. Turn 2 Bone Crusher, you'd like burn them down with Bone Crusher Giant and like bounce stuff with Brazen Borrower, play creatures, Love Struck Beast is a 5/5 creature, nothing to sneeze at there. Nimble Obstructionist, Thassa's Oracle, Vendilion Click, like it's a decent creature deck. Ashok Dream Render, Collector Oof, Embereth Shieldbreaker, destroy target artifact. This is actually a great card. I don't know why more people don't play this, and it's a human too. I guess the red is difficult. I mean, humans doesn't want this card at all. I don't think they want this card. Could deal with Ensnaring Bridge in theory. Engineered Explosives, Hornet's Nest. Yeah, this used to be in the main deck if I remember correctly. Yeah, Hornet's Nest just kills Prowess and Shadow. So let's look at Hornet. Like, this is pretty sick tech right here. Maybe I should move a little bit lower so you can see the power and toughness. Defender. Whenever Hornet's Nest is dealt damage, any damage, put that many 1/1 green insect creature tokens on tokens with flying and death touch onto the battlefield. You know, maybe we can play this in Merfolk. Maybe this is like the hidden tech in Merfolk. I could vial this and play. So the point is, like, if it's dealt a lot of damage, say by a prowess creature, it will die, but then you get a bunch of 1/1 green insect creature tokens that your opponent now has to deal with, and they need to like use a piece of spot removal on every single one. How does it not kill Chalice? I mean, so long as it's on 1. This will kill a Chalice. You can kill a Chalice on 2, for example. Anyway, Hornet's Nest. What are my thoughts on Nimble Obstructionist? I think it's an awesome card, except that it's very, very fragile right now because there's a lot of Lava Darts in the metagame. This reminds me of Possibility Storm decks. Give a card and I can try to build a deck off of it. I will think about it. I want to say Polymorph, but there's like a million polymorph decks out there. This is wild. I want Chalice on 1. Combo with 1 Mad Adventures through Chalice, which is sweet. Yes, which you can. So anyway, Hornet's Nest is pretty interesting tech here. Yeah, very good. I didn't think about the Death Shadow matchup. That's actually very interesting that this is going to show up the Death Shadow matchup as well. So like against Death Shadow, they need to Fatal Push this thing or they're screwed. Okay, my biggest question is, though, can I run Spirit Guide Chalice instead of Elf and Sprawl? Do you need to? The thing is, I don't think Chalice is that well positioned right now. Like, it's good. I don't think it's good enough right now. There's just too many decks that don't care. And too many, like, Skyclave Apparition decks that will... I mean, first off, they don't care, but if they even did, then they just exile the thing. So I would think that you should probably be more in the... ramping category yourself. I don't know about Arbor Elf. Like, Utopia Sprawl is great. I think that card is fine. It's harder for people to interact with this card. But this is probably fine. It's probably fine. Simic Merfolk should run this in the sideboard Hornet's Nest. I'm thinking about it the more I look at it. Anyway, again, I don't have any really feedback on this. Let's look at the sideboard. What do you have Ratchet Bomb for? What is the purpose of Ratchet Bomb? Yeah, they can also dismember the nest. I'm just curious to know what the... well, I mean, Teferi's not too bad, you know, when you want to combo off. I'm interested in submitting deck lists in the future. Does our link have to be from... No, it does. It can be from anywhere. You can be from people. It just so happens if today everyone's links came from Tapped Out, but other people have it from MTG Goldfish and all sorts of bizarre sites. There's only one site that I really hate. I can't remember what it is, but whatever. It's all good. Just submit it to any site. Explosives and Ratchet Bomb are for blowing up 2-drops while also blowing up my Talisman. Aha. That seems a bit fancy in the end. But that's fine. Ratchet Bomb and... Is E just better, though? I think if it's specifically for 2-drops, you should have 1 less Ratchet Bomb, 1 more Engineered Explosive. Because you can get this going, you can crack it on turn 3, whereas this, you can't crack it until turn 4. Because you play it, you have to tap it. Turn 3, you tap it. It has 2 counters, but you have to wait until turn 4 to crack it. Whereas with Engineered Explosives, you can cast on 2. So I would just get rid of 1 Ratchet Bomb, 1 more Engineered Explosives, if that's what it's really for. And why Collector Oof? Is this for like Tron or something? Why do slow fetches exist? Because they were first. Before the fast fetches came out. Oh, can tutor... Oh, that's a bit... That doesn't seem worthwhile, though. Tutor Oof with Talisman. Okay, so you play this Talisman, then you just tutor for your Oof, and you play it, and then they can't use the Talisman? I feel like that's not good value. Okay, against Tron mainly? Okay, that's fine. I don't mind one-ofs in this list because you do have the Wishclaw Talisman to tutor up the things that you need. But yeah, a sweet list. Good stuff. Thanks for submitting it, and I hope you're doing well with it. And I think Bone Crusher Giant is I don't know about the Merchant of the Veil. You'd have to tell me how useful this card is. It looks sort of weak in this deck. But like Bone Crusher Giant is like really good. It's not only really efficient removal, but it's a 4/3 creature for 3 mana. This is like a 2/3 creature. The haggle isn't really that impactful. You like this versus control? Like just for grinding or something? Okay, if it's good against control, then you can keep it. You can keep it in the main if you think it's really that good. That's not too bad. You may discard a card if you do draw a card. It's fine. If it actually does something in one matchup, that should be fine. Oof should have been a white card. White has enough cards. Or if anything, this is another example of green just absorbing white abilities. Right here. You're seeing it again, people. Green just taking up one day they're gonna have like a 2-mana green card, green. Look at target opponent's hand, take a card from it, and I don't know, that player gains 2 life or something like that. There's gonna be it's coming. It's coming. Green is gonna have a Thoughtseize somewhere in 2021. Okay, so for everyone watching live, we're gonna keep streaming. We're gonna stream some zombies today. I have no idea how well I'm gonna do it. I don't know how well I'm gonna stream zombies, but we're gonna do it. It's gonna happen. But for everyone on the replay watching on YouTube, that is going to be it for today. So I'm going to thank everyone for showing up today. We have a great conversation. We had a great deck list review. I hope that inspires anybody who are looking for some new interesting lists for Pioneer, Modern, or Historic. And I will see you all at the next cup. Take care. I'll see you next time.